All right, hey guys, doing something a little different for this week's video. As I was driving home today, right down the road, there's a pond from me, and I saw this guy. I can't tell if it's a guy or a girl. I saw this goose on the side of the road, still breathing. It's decapitated now, thanks to me, but it obviously got hit by a car. It was still alive when I got there, so I called the conservation officer up, asked him what to do. It's a managed species, it's a waterfowl. So I know typically they don't give them out, so don't share this with everybody. But he was still dead. I talked to the conservation officer, who I know pretty well, and he said, yeah, if you can dispatch him, you can take him. It's perfectly fine. So for this week's outdoor living leader post, I'm going to show you how to breast out a goose, which most of the work is already done, and I might take the rear quarters, the rear legs as well. Good survival stuff. Kind of show you what I do and how I go about doing this. With goose, I typically just take the breast meat, the thighs, and sometimes I'll take the wings. You get a little bit of meat up in here, but the wings really even aren't all that meaty, and they're kind of chewy. The breast meat is really where it's at on goose. What I do like is this one wing is actually really good. It'd be nice to pin up, but I'm gonna wait until the season comes up and I'll pin up a wing of one that I've got. I'm just gonna get right into it. So I'm gonna pull out more of the feathers around the sternum here to expose the sternum a little bit more, which you can kind of see the bone right there. So I'll get down, and the sternum ends right about here, and then you have like the cloacas up here, but you have all the digestive tract back there. So I've got that more or less exposed. I'll rip it down a little bit more here. And I'm in my greenhouse, so I'm going to try and have to clean all this stuff up after. So I'm just going to make a small incision in the skin. Poke it right through there. My knife is also not super sharp, which not good. So I'm then just going to take this incision that I've made and follow it down the sternum. There we go. And I'm pulling up, and you'll see little layers as I'm pulling this back. You'll see. So once you get that good incision, you can kind of start pulling away. You see the membrane right there. Once I get underneath that membrane, I can basically just rip it all back. To expose most of that breast meat there. And I can peel it back and expose some of the thigh meat as well. And this thing is literally super fresh. I got home 5 minutes ago max, and I saw this guy. I'm gonna throw another bit of string up there. So I'm just doing a little clove hitch to his back leg here to get his other side up. Make it a little easier to work with. And let's see if I was able to get underneath that membrane on this side without having to cut, which I'm going to have to make an incision. It's Monday, and you guys aren't seeing this on Monday, but it is Monday. And we have our meeting here in a couple hours. Not even, hour and a half or so. So I'm trying to get my work done before I talk to you guys this evening. All right. You know what I'm going to do, because it's a little harder to do while it's hanging. Make some room on this bench here. Greenhouse is a little bit of a mess, so I'm going to make a little bit of space over here. All right, make that a little bit easier for us. All right, let's see. Can you guys see this? All right, you guys can see that pretty good. So I've got him skinned out pretty good. Peel a little bit more back here, expose a little bit more of this thigh to make it easier on me later. And same thing, I'll pull in through here and just kind of make that work a little bit better. So I've already kind of screwed up since I was skinning and made a couple of cuts there. This breast not so good. I've got it a little off center. So I'll go through and basically take my knife, start at the top of the sternum here, and just slowly start slicing in. I'm trying to keep my knife blade along the sternum right there. Right along the inside of it, just mainly peeling it back little by little to try and get as much of the meat as possible. And I'm not a professional at this, so I also don't care how it looks. This isn't restaurant quality, right? It's just trying to give an animal that got hit by a car a value in their afterlife. Plus, geese are kind of assholes in some ways. I love geese because they taste good, but nobody likes geese on their yard or any of that kind of stuff. So I've got it more or less loosened up along the bottom here. So I'm going to come in from the bottom side to loosen it up a little bit more. So all I have to do is just start peeling it back. So now as I start making these cuts, I'm literally just kind of peeling it away from this other lower membrane. You can kind of see as I'm pulling up that little bit of whiteness there. That's another membrane that it's attached to. So I missed it a little bit coming in from the top. But once you get that bottom side, it's a couple of peels, and it more or less... Oh no, I think I nicked an artery. Oh no. And literally just kind of peeling it back and following along where it naturally wants to go. And I did not cut far enough along in there. Which is fine. And then the other bone comes right along the top here. Cool, so there's one breast out. I will wash this down when I bring it inside. Let's see if I can't get this one out a little bit better and a little bit cleaner, huh? Move the camera around so you can see it from this side. There we go. Man, it's got all sorts of little aquatic bugs that I don't like crawling on me, but it is what it is, right? I will say the one thing about geese when you manage them after hunting is the feathers get friggin' everywhere. Everywhere. all that down. And I obviously could have done a better job peeling the skin back and everything, but this is what happens when you're not planning on having a goose. You make the best of it. And I think that I'm okay with however this thing turns out. Tenderloin's done. Boom, the other breast done. And a little bit of the tenderloin. Now let's see how we can't get these legs out of here, huh? So I'm just gonna peel the skin a little bit more, cut it, and see what I can't do about pulling this thigh out. Or rather the whole leg. That's clear. Man, so much down. Alright, so now I'm going to follow. I know I didn't peel all the feathers back, which, here, let me just peel more of the skin back, so I'm losing some of the meat, so what? Make it come out a little bit better. So much down. So I've got the skin peeled back to about the backbone area here. This is all the leg meat here. So I'm going to come on the inside of it, and I don't know how much of it you can see, but you can kind of see where it's getting held on there. So I'm just going to slowly start cutting at that, get me to the hip joint, and that joint comes in right about here. So once I get through most of that there, that's all more or less free. Now I'll come back on the back side, give a little cut to free the rest of the meat, and I've got the joint right here. So I can wiggle it around and feel it, and I can tell that the tendon goes in about right here. So I'm going to just slowly start working around the joint with my knife, carefully so I don't stab myself. Flip it over so I can see a little bit better, and boom, it's out. So you can see on that socket joint there, I just cut the cartilage that was around there, and I've got the goose leg there. I don't like these bugs, they're so weird. Look at this thing. Hey, tomato plant, don't fall over on me. All right. Oh, man. Dude, what are these bugs? Seriously. What is all this down anyway? Ugh. There we go. That's free. So I'll do the same thing. I'll come back in on that inside, make a few of those incisions there, free up some of that, the membrane, cartilage, or whatever the heck it is. Expose that joint, pop it out, which it's popped. Should be able to flip it over now and cut, and it should come free. So got that in there. Where's the last little cartilage? Right in there. Boom. Breasts and legs. Free meal. Can't complain. And it took me, how long have I been recording for? Just under 20 minutes. 19 minutes and 15 seconds, including messing around with some rope. But here's the rest of my greenhouse, guys, since I haven't shown this to you all. I got a cabbage, broccoli, kale, pepper, eggplant underneath there. These are all supposed to be pickling cukes, but I haven't been picking them, so they're not pickling cukes. A bunch of kale, some mustard greens, Swiss chard, more peppers, all my tomatoes, more peppers, and then delicata squash, potatoes out here, blueberries, and then a lemon tree that I planted, some rosemary, and some Thai basil. So I hope you guys enjoy this for your outdoor living leader post for the week.